Alrighty, another build video, but I figured I'd video it just for those that may be interested. This is going to be a kit bash, scratch bash, I don't know what you call it, of a Monster Modelworks kit with a scratch built, heavier, industrial machine shop type area. What I wanted to do, this is going to be over in Lake City. And for a long time, in fact, I've had the kits for quite a while, actually. Let me just do a little spin. These are from, I said, Monster Modelworks. It's the Robertson Paper company. I actually had two of these kits, and he did some custom stuff for me. What I was going to do was put two of them together, because it's really not that big. And he did some custom stuff with the doors and whatnot, just the way I wanted it lined up, the way I thought the track was going to go. Of course, that's all been changed. And I just like the way the roof looks. I think it's a cool looking building. So what I'm going to do now is have one of these be kind of the front part. And like I said, the back part, a little bit higher where the high bay is. It's going to be the, the heavy, the machine shop, the manufacturing area. There'll be an overhead crane in there. That's where the loading dock's going to be, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I do. So this is going to be the kit, kind of together with a scratch built portion in the back. All I've done so far is do a little bit of work. I've made some sketches up, which of course have changed already. Just kind of figuring out how I'm going to do it, how I'm going to lay it out, because you need to use corner pieces and anything like that. So I have some ideas for that, and it's changing as I go through. This is going to be it's not going to be a normal build by one of those guys that are good at this stuff. It's going to be I'm going to glue stuff, I'm going to paint stuff, and I'm going to see what happens. But again, this is going to be the kit. Probably all four walls. The one wall I'll use to join up with this other wall, which is going to be a little bit higher, but you can see I'll use the kit end to give, and I'll knock over the front wall to give you the shape for the roof, because it is a unique shape. So I want to put that piece there. This is going to stick up a little bit. Let me reassemble the wall here. As I said, this is going to be the loading dock industrial siding side. It's going to come in. This will be raised up. I'm going to put it on this. This is more Monster Modelworks. I just cannot. It's a catastrophe. Anyway, so that wall is going to be on this to raise it up a little bit, because I need to raise it up a little bit higher for the loading dock, and the doors I'm going to put along here. I have some used to be rusty stumps. Now they're rail scale models, I believe. I'm going to have to cut those and put them in there, and probably not much else. Like I said, this is kind of the high bay where they build stuff, so that's going to be just the loading dock doors. I will put a foundation on this as well, either an 8x12 or a 12x12 to bring that up a little bit. Not just for the scenery to go around and stuff when it gets on the layout. So all I've done so far is basically take the walls I'm going to use, figure out which ones I got the ends sanded. There are corner pieces you have to get glued in. I've only done it on the very front wall. Didn't do a very good job. Hopefully it hides itself a little bit when it gets painted. But so that's going to be the front wall. That's got the main door, the office area. So that's going to be up here in the front. Will be the office area. And it'll come back, and if this is up, it would have been a little bit easier. And here I have some cool, it's like a sand filter, industrial looking filter type thing that I might put here on the outside from Shapeways. Saying they did that. This will be the office area here. This will be the wall that's going to be on that side toward the main line. So that means these two won't be used unless I do something different. I did cut so I have three pieces of the old, what do they call it? Aged brick, I think is what he calls it. These are Monster Modelworks as well. I'm just using a full piece just because I'm lazy and I don't feel like doing a whole lot of cutting. So a full piece this, the full piece from the kit, they're going to go together. I have cut the ends and this piece in here to give me the part that's going to stick up above the roof here, and the end piece. Now I got to figure out what I want to do on the far end, in terms of, you know, more doors, loading dock door. I like to put a bigger door here and maybe bring the loading dock out so I can bring some heavier equipment out. You know, machine castings or something like that. It'd be kind of cool to have, you know, some flat car loads. Come in and out with that. So this side, again, it's going to have several doors for two 40-foot box cars to bring materials in. On the far side, I may be able to even put some tanks and bring some chemicals in or something. I don't know. We'll see. So far, all I've done is taken the pieces. I got these cut. Basically, one of these cut in half. And things are kind of sanded. What I have to do now is, on the other walls, add these corner pieces that go on. So I'll get that done. I do have some 1/4-inch floor, 1/4-inch by 6 by 36. I didn't want that long, but that's what Hobby Lobby had. Unfortunately, they didn't have it in the store, so I had to buy it. Okay, that's my COVID excuse, I guess. That'll come in. That'll be the bottom, the first story floor, the ground level floor. And then I'm going to put on the inside, I'll make it so I can put a floor, oops, in here and have interior details on the, for both the office and the second story here. I'm not sure what's going to be. Light manufacturing, but there's some nice big windows. It's going to be relatively close to the aisle, so I'll do some interior details there as well. And then on this side, when I cut these doors, if I have open doors, again, do some interior details so you can kind of look in there. It'll be kind of neat because it's going to be pretty close to the end, to the aisle. So you'll be, you know, close enough to really look in there and get some good looks. So I'll do some cool interior stuff on this. Not totally sure yet, but like I said, this is kind of a work in progress. Wing it as we go. So we'll do some more work. I guess I'm gonna try to remember to video this. Sometimes I forget to do stuff like that. But now it's just loose pieces, and we'll start getting things together. My thought is to basically make this kit, get the floor in it, because that can be kind of standalone. It's going to match to this, which is going to be also its own kind of standalone. So I may be able to kind of build them in segments and then bring them together here, and see how that all works out. So all right, more to come as we progress here. We'll see how well it goes and if I actually progress with this video. If not, you'll never see this. If I do, then you'll see it, and hopefully it's interesting. All right, more to come. Okay, I just can't stop tinkering here. So, alright, so on the building here, I got the walls pretty much ready to go. And I had the end wall cut. Side walls, I have the end corner pieces installed on the, I'm calling this the aisle side and on the track side. And then same on the smaller office which sits up here. That's pretty much ready to go together. So I can almost build each half and then bring them together. But what I wanted to think about was what I'm going to do for a loading dock. Because again, this is the manufacturing section back here. And so here's what I'm kind of thinking of doing here. Got some 1/2-inch plywood. And I'm going to laminate on top of it about it's almost maybe a 1/8. That's this material that I had in one of the N-Scale Architect kits. I like it because it's got a good texture to it. I can make it look like concrete fairly easily. And then it brings it right up to the height of a boxcar door, which is, it's almost perfect. Alright, so you can see I have it set up for maybe 2 cars to come in here at the dock. Let me get these bad boys out of the way. Come on, boys. They're getting anxious. They want to get loaded up. Alright, so, and that's just there to hold the wall up. And then what I'm thinking is, you know what would be kind of cool? Okay, so I bring it around the back like this. Because I was thinking you need a place to load trucks. Let's face it, hey, they're going to ship things by truck as well. But, what if, you know, they build larger, I'm not sure what they build yet. They build cool, gnarly, industrial looking like things. Alright, so I'm going to have probably 3 doors here on this side. Oh, here they are right here, as a matter of fact. That may not show up very well, but these are the rail scale models, large doors I'm going to use. They call them a barn door, but I think it looks good as a factory door. So yeah, one's open 2 halves, one that are full. Anyway, so alright, so I got those on order. But what if here at the end, if I had a little bit larger door, and then here's where they bring out heavier stuff. And I thought I could even put some rails. Now those are just coated E3 rails. They're probably way too big. Probably want to go with, you know, code 55 or something like that. It's just for a heavy duty cart. They push it out. They can load it inside here on the cart, push it out, and then here I have a crane that comes out. It's part of the rails on the wall, part of it's freestanding. It comes out over a flat car. Now that's a 70-ton car. That's pretty big, but I'll probably size it for that. By size, then you make sure I have enough track and the bumper and stuff and where this building's going to go. But most of the time, a 50-ton car would probably be adequate. So there's a 50-ton car. So, all right, so that's there. I do have one of those Walthers traveling cranes, which I may be able to bring out. I think they'll look pretty cool. Maybe even extend it a little bit this way so you can load trucks with it too. Because yeah, unfortunately, they do ship things by truck. Although, I don't know, we'll see. Who knows? I mean, if it's really, really heavy stuff, back in the 50s, would they be going on trucks? Maybe not. So maybe I'll just kind of use that for loading the flat cars, but have truck access here for either other materials coming in or smaller things going out. Don't know yet. That'll look kind of cool. The nice, probably have to be a roll-up door to be high enough. And in reality, if I was going to... This manufacturing section probably should be 3 of these, and it probably should be at least double the height. Because if you're going to put a crane in there and have any room under the hook to lift something, you really need more height in the building. But I just can't do it. I just don't have the room on the layout where it's going to go. But it probably should be, and it also probably should be at least double the width, and even that would be a small industry. It's amazing how big things really are when you really, really measure them out. Anyway, but I'm going to leave it like this. That's just the way it is. So that's what I'm kind of thinking about. I have all these pieces ready to go. I could even make this, separate. I had to cobble things together a little bit because I didn't have enough solid pieces. But it's just wood. I can glue it together, laminate it. I'll laminate out here as well. Make it look like concrete on the outside there. And then I could even use, if I use that stuff and I get the right size rails, which I'm not sure what size rails, or I can bring it in and make the rails, they're going to have to be, buried into the top of the dock. But I've seen that before. And I might need to go look at some Westinghouse pictures of the factory to see what kind of door they would. Did they have roll-up doors in, let's say, the 30s when this was built? I don't know. Or maybe this was added later, as they built, bigger and bigger stuff, and their business expanded. This could have been added in the 40s, for World War II, for building stuff for the war effort. Who knows? But I don't know if they had roll-up doors back then. I know they had them when I was in the shop. Real big roll-up doors. I'm not sure what they had back in the era. So I'll do a little bit of research on that. But there we are. So again, I'm more of a rabbit hole. And then if I have these nice big doors, and a big roll-up door, I can have them open so you can see inside the building and do some nice, interior details. Heck, we even put a crane inside the building. Oh boy, here we go. Getting further and further in the rabbit hole. Alright, more to come as we progress here. Okay, a little bit of the thought process here. What I'm going to do, I've already changed things, and get used to it. This video, what I say now, we'll change 2 segments from now. It's just the way I am. So, I got an email. So here's what I'm going to do. What I was originally planning was to take 2 of these Monster Modelworks Robertson Paper kits and basically put them back to back. Just double them up lengthwise. I thought they looked cool. I like the shape of it. So I'm going to keep that. But when I was looking at it and playing with the location over on the layout, it just didn't look industrial enough or big enough. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build one kit here in the front, pretty much per the instructions, although I've already modified it. I added the bracing. I don't really like the way the instructions flow, but that's not a big deal. I'll do it my way. I'm going to add a floor. I'm going to add a floor for the first story. I already cut in also another man door here. I'm going to add There'll be a base floor, a second story floor. I'm going to detail the interior somewhat. This will be the layout side. So I may add some details, you know, in here, some lights and up where you can see into these windows because they're pretty big. And then for the back part, I'm going to forego the other kit, but I'm going to scratch build a higher, you know, manufacturing type area with the same, not the same, with similar Monster Modelworks Aged Brick material as is used for this. Allegedly, it's close. I'm not saying it's perfect. And then this will be scratch built. You can see kind of how it's laid out. It's still a small building. I mean, really, it's just the size of a country store if you really think about it. But anyway, all right, it looks a little bit more industrial. I'm going to add this loading dock here. The siding's going to come in on this side. Maybe one on the back side too. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to add some, used to be rusty stumps. They're now rail scale models. Freight doors that look pretty good. I can probably add 3 of them here. One maybe open, interior detail, you know, so you can look inside. Lights on these. Maybe a canopy over the dock. Then here on the back side, on this nice big wall, I'm going to have a nice big, like a 14 by 15 foot opening. Again, more rail scale models, large warehouse doors. And then when I'm kicking around, I added a man door as well. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to steal some stuff from various other kits and stuff. What I'm going to do here for this nice big door is maybe have some rails come out and say, okay, this is where they ship larger stuff. I'm not sure what yet, but big, cool, industrial, gnarly looking things. This will be nice and big and open, so I'm going to run the rails out. They're going to be embedded. I'll put another laminate on this. That'll be the concrete to hide the, I think I'm going to use code 70 rail because I have it. I don't have any code 55, which would probably be more prototypical, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to make some carts up. I have some Z-scale passenger trucks coming that I think I can modify to look like a, you know, a heavy-duty push cart, so I can push things in and out. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but I'm going to try it. And I need those to kind of set the width of the rails and then get them set in here. And then on the interior here of this manufacturing area, if I feel like it, since this door is pretty big, you'll be able to look in. This will be totally floored as well. Floored! There'll be a floor in there at the right level that I can paint to look like concrete. I thought about going with brick, but that might be too much of a pain. But again, that could change. Get used to it. This side I'm probably just going to leave blank. This is the side away from the aisle. I don't know if I'll cut in any windows or not. Again, this is a manufacturing area. The thought is it has a crane in here, so you can't put a whole lot of windows because there's columns and crane rails and stuff like that. So basically, they manufacture stuff in here. They can crane it over to the rails, get a nice big fork truck, push it out to here to this part of the dock, and then I may add in a Walther's overhead crane going this way. Part of it attached to the building, comes out over this track here at the end, so they can bring a flat car in here, and then they can, transfer it from the heavy-duty cart to the crane over to the flat car. That might look pretty cool. A little different. I don't know if they would actually do it like that, but Now the building in Lake City that is loosely, again very loosely, kind of the inspiration for this, did have an area. It was encaged in the corrugated steel, but it came right over, a crane came right over the rails. Looks really cool, but kind of a different building construction materials, and I like this brick. I think this will look pretty cool. So that's where I am. So scratch built back main manufacturing part using the Monster Modelworks kit. Pardon me while I just roll here. For the front, ground level floor, second floor, interior details, maybe some walls to break it up so the light doesn't shine everywhere and whatnot. A couple open doors here on this loading dock to look inside. Nice big door here at the back to look inside. Not sure how much I'll detail that. To be honest, it probably just depends how much you can see looking through. I mean, I thought about going crazy and, adding columns and adding a crane and making the roof removable. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. But again, that could change. Wouldn't be really all that hard to do. Now this is not how the actual building is going to sit. I'm going to have this sitting on a foundation. It'll be an 8 by 12. This is going to be up a little bit higher, about 3/8 of an inch, with some Monster Modelworks concrete stone that'll raise this part up a little bit more. Again, you need some more height under the hook. At this end, since this will come up a little bit more higher, I may put the company name there across the brick, like it's painted on. I'm not sure what's going to be named yet. You know, Rob Bennett Manufacturing. No, something simple that will fit there. So, you know, basically it's going to be build this kit, scratch build this, put them together. Okay, I'll give it a shot. I think it looks pretty cool. Again, it really is a small industry. You know, it's amazing when you look at the real size of industries, prototypically, how small our stuff is. And you just need so much room, and I just don't have it. Anyway, I mean, the real Robertson Paper, this is the kit. It's like probably 7 of those long. And then there is another back industrial part. Oh yeah, and there's also 4 or 5 other buildings. So these complexes are way bigger than we model. But you do what you got to do. So I think that'll look pretty cool. There'll be room for 2 40-foot box cars here, up to a 50-foot flat car here. Maybe not all 3 at once. And I'm not saying they ship the heavy-duty stuff, say, every op session. But there's room for it. I want to be able to do it. So you can put that there. A lot of material comes in here. If I do something on the back side, because I will have another track over there that I could bring back, I'm thinking, what could I bring? I don't know. What other materials, raw materials may come in for manufacturing? I don't know. It'd be cool to bring in some tank cars, covered hoppers. I don't know. I got to think about that. But, you know, put some tanks back here, maybe a little annex with a smokestack on it for a boiler room or something like that. So, again, more to come. And things will change. But I'm pretty well set with this. So, okay. Enough blabbing. Just kind of wanted to give the backdrop or background on what I'm planning here. And again, now I'm going to build this part now, since I have the interior bracing done. I do have a 1/4 inch floor coming. Hopefully it comes today. When I get that in for the base, the upper level floor will just be some of the corrugated matting that I used to use for photography. That's fine for the floor. Get that in, and then this building is really pretty simple. This one a little bit more work. It's just a scratch built, and I still have to receive the rail scale models, doors, and whatnot to work on that. But I can probably cut the openings. So anyway, all right. So that's going to be it. That's going to be the manufacturing plant. The scratch bash. Is that what it would be called? Because that's going to be the kit modified. I did modify it, so I guess that's kind of a kit bash, kind of. This is scratch. Anyway, all right, enough babbling. Let's get this puppy moved along here. Okay, here we go. And more mistakes have been made. But you know what? That's why I like to show it, because you watch some videos and think the world's perfect, and maybe other guys are, but I am not. All right, anyway, so what I had wrong here, or not wrong, but what I had to fix is the way I'm setting this up. When this wall comes in, I have this corner piece. I want to hide, you know, that exposed edge, because there's no brick pattern there. That's going to sit up like that. Okay, that's great. In order to do that, I need this wall on this building, which I do want to have. I wouldn't have to, but I want to give me the shape of the roof, because it's an unusual shape. I mean, I could have put a piece in here, but anyway, I just, you know, that's the way I'm doing it. Well, I had this. Let me take these out of here. Slide this back. That's the factory part of the manufacturing part. All right. I had this, because what I thought I was doing, I had it out like that. I don't know if you can see that corner. Thinking that this long wall, the brick part, was going to come in, you know, like that. Which, okay, that would work. But if I did that, it would throw off this end wall, and it wouldn't be right. It wouldn't look right. Now, would it have been the end of the world? I don't know. But in order to fix this, all I got to do, and I do have this piece that came in my 1/4 inch floor. I don't think I have it marked. Basically, I need to go up to the miter saw, take off basically the thickness of this wall, so that when I put this floor in, it'll be nice and flush, because I want it to be inside these walls, not kicked out like they normally would be. So I got to fix that. Not a big deal. I should be able to do this okay and get close. Another thing I noticed is this is a piece of allegedly 1/4 inch by 6 inch by 36 inch from Hobby Lobby. Yeah, it's not 6 inches. It's actually shy. I don't think it'll show up on this. It's too dark, but it's shy by maybe a 1/16. It's just about an 8 by 12 scale piece of lumber. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. And then another mistake I made on this piece, somehow, when I put these bottom, you can see the bottom, that's my bottom concrete, form on the bottom there. Alright, I'm using an 8 by 12 by that, with the 8 inch dimension being the vertical and the 12 being the horizontal. Lined up with the inside, so it gives a little bit of a lip out here. Okay, that's great. Somehow, I don't know how, when I took these out to paint them, I primed them real quick, and then painted them with chalk white for the concrete. I put a 10 by 10 on the bottom of this one. I don't know how, so it was sitting up too high by about 2 scale inches. Not a huge deal, but what I had to do was come in here and sand the bottom of this. Okay, it took a little time, but I got it. It's close enough. So now it's lined up properly. It's about the 8 inch dimension. And I also, on these, I was flushing the bottom form piece up on the inside of the wall. So it has just a tiny little bit sticking out. You can see right there. Well, I did it here as well, but I can't. It has to be flush on the inside because this is going up against the floor. So, okay, go back in, sand this. What I should have used here was an 8 by 8, because you're not going to see it. The only thing I needed to do was bring it up to the right height, so it lines up. So that was a little bit of a rework session there. So, like I said, I am not a master model railroader by any stretch of the imagination, but I know I caught it and I fixed it. So let's get this fixed. This is already fixed, and then the plan is to get this building together. Although I will check it one more time to make sure I'm right when I bring this other building in. And some of this may not be a huge issue because any misalignment here will probably not be super noticeable when it's done. And my intent, knowing that I won't be able to get good seams, you can already see this seam isn't the greatest over here. I'm just not that skilled. I'm probably going to have a downspout come in here. I kind of planned it that way. Hey, I'm going to admit it. I know I'm not good at certain things, so I try to do things on the building that will help hide what I know are going to be possible issues. So I'm more worried about this one. This is the aisle side. No one's going to see this side, but this might be where the downspouts come down from the main manufacturing roof to help cover up which I know are not going to be perfect joints. Hey, it is what it is. Alright, so let's get these things fixed up and hopefully get this building squared up and totally glued up. Okay, so here we go. We got it together. Got it all glued up and kept everything relatively square. At least within my tolerances. And then what I decided to do, again, it's nice and sturdy, and it's got the 1/4 inch floor on it there, and then I put some partitions in it, just really this one is here mainly to support the upper floor. This is just here kind of as a view block, because you can see in from this is the aisle side. You'll never look in this side unless you're really small, HO scale or maybe O scale. You can crawl around the layout anyway. So I figured, okay, you come in the main door, this is kind of an open area, the receptionist, the clerks that do the paperwork for shipping, receiving, and order materials, and the purchasing agent and whatnot. The bigwigs sit back here, obviously, in their individual offices. This is kind of the start. That's the hole for the wires to come in. And then this is kind of I'm going to have a cool mechanical thing, I think, out here. This is kind of the start of the manufacturing area, light manufacturing, maybe some storage. But I'm not going to detail that. I'm only going to detail this area. And I'm not going to go crazy because the windows aren't that large and you won't be able to see a whole lot. But I'll go ahead, I'll paint the floor, paint the walls, just grab a simple craft, light gray color and just slap it on there. I'm not going to agonize over it. And then I need to run the lights in. I'm going to have a light probably over this door, a light over the main door. Maybe something outside, because again, on this outer side, and this is the side that sits toward the aisle, so you will be able to see in these here. This is going to be a solid tissue door. This will be a dark, so you won't be able to really see much. But you will be able to see in here, so I'll do something. And then in here, I'm thinking of bringing some, or buying some cool looking, sand filter type, gnarly looking industrial contraption that might fit out here. But be careful because the track comes in, the dock starts here, so there's not a whole lot of room, but something gnarly sitting out there. And then the upper floor, I'm going to have the hole cut out for the upper level lights and wires to come through. And this is a little bit snug. Fits in there pretty nice. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Alright, so you get that down. Okay. So once I get the bottom done, that'll be the upper floor. And again, you can see in these windows. So I'm thinking maybe this is light manufacturing, drafting perhaps. I have some cool looking drafting tables. Maybe I could put in there. I don't know, something. I'm not going to go totally nuts. Because yeah, you'll be able to see in, but it won't be super visible. But those windows aren't bad, so you'll be able to kind of get a view in there. And this is going to be pretty darn close to the aisle, so maybe I will put another, a wall down here to kind of match the lower one. I don't know, maybe there's some offices up here, or I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it too much because it just doesn't matter. So there we are. Get that in there nice. And now what I need to do is extract my floor. I'll do it later. Work on the details for the reception office area, figure out what kind of lights I'm going to do, get the wiring done, basically get the ground floor done, and then come work on the first floor. That's the UK, right? Hey, you UK guys, is this the ground floor or the first floor? I'm pretty sure this is the ground floor and this is the first floor, which really makes more sense if you think about it. All right, anyway. Okay, more to come as we progress here. Okay, we're back. All right, so I got the building together. I got paint on the outside, obviously. Still needs the mortar, and it still needs some weathering and all yada yada yada. I want to get that on first. And then what I decided to do for the interior, as you can see, is a little office area there. What I kind of figure, and I didn't go crazy on this, because again, as more and more I do this, I learn that you just don't see it a whole lot. You just want to convey the impression of something going on. And a lot of this is just cut pieces of wood. I got like an assortment pack from Hobby Lobby when I bought my 1/4-inch piece here for the base. I just cut it and slap stuff together. I'm not really that worried about it. Little reception area there. Two gentlemen coming in. Some kind of table with a box on it. Some kind of little cabinet back here. Some chairs laying around for folks to sit. I figure, again, you kind of come in here. This is the reception area. You know, the receptionist works here. Maybe a purchasing agent or a clerk or two. That's why he's back here. You come back through here. This hallway, you can go upstairs. You can come back to the bigwigs' offices here. And this is actually probably where the, facility manager, purchasing manager, etc. have their offices here on the first floor. This door just goes outside. It's a man door to get out to whatever I'm going to put outside here. Come upstairs and I'll do some detailing on the second floor. Not sure what. I don't know what's back here. Maybe some light manufacturing. Maybe a wood shop or something like that. To kind of feed into the main high bay. I don't know. Something. So that's all I want to do. I want to get that on before I put the second floor on. Add the lights. Run them back through. This is where I'll do my work for the incoming wiring. Second floor wiring, etc., etc. Get that all done. So again, it's not meant to be crazy. It's just literally pieces of wood kind of cut. I did kind of make a receptionist desk there. I like the pose she has. She's like, "Why are you coming in here on a Friday afternoon, Paul?" So I think it's going to look fine. again, this probably won't show, but you know, you look through the windows, get the lights on. You just want to convey the illusion that there's something going on inside there. So I'm not going to go too crazy on it. Little credenza along the far wall. I did find, if you can see the name over there. Yeah, baby Bennett. I don't know, I found it somewhere. It's some kind of manufacturing stuff, so I cut it out and just sit down. I'm just going to slap it on the wall just for the hell of it. So now what I'm going to do, get the LED lights for this office, get them wired up, run through, get the second floor on, and then I got to work on the second floor, what I want to do. Because again, those windows are a little bit larger, so I know I might put some drafting tables. I'm not sure yet, but something. Okay, so that is the front part of the building. Pretty much moving along fairly nicely. I can show you a short clip what I'm planning to do for the main high bay. Alright, for the main manufacturing high bay, I'm probably overcomplicating this, like model railroaders are wont to do. But anyway, so what I got my base here. I decided to use some of the Monster Modelworks, I think, cinder block base to raise it up a little bit because I want it to be a little bit higher. So I have that all glued together, added some 3/8 inch other pieces inside there. There's the bottom view of the base. And it's got this on. This needs to be, you know, finished up, weathered and whatnot. This is with access for the wires and for me to do the wiring when I'm done. So that's going to be this base with this nice wood on it, which is going to then match with. Alright, so here's the platform. It's going to sit. You know. Alright, so that's the main platform. Now on this, I'm going to have, again, I showed, this is a piece of that material from one of the N-Scale Architect kits. It has a good texture on it that I can paint to make it look like concrete as opposed to trying to paint the plywood. So I have a layer here that I will laminate on top, and that gives you a good texture. Good texture for the concrete. Takes paint well, it weathers well. This piece is going to be, I'm probably going to piece it, but so it's all nice and flush. And I'll probably extend this down and notch it to come out the door so it lines up. Oops, hold the camera where you can see what I'm talking about. So it lines up through the doors because this will have the walls that fit in there. For example, pardon my reach, here's the end wall. So this is going to sit here at this end, like that. So I probably can't do this too well with one hand and the camera and the wall and the. Anyway, so I got to fill this gap in. So I'll probably extend this out when I cut this piece, and it's easy to cut to line it up, so it looks like it's, you know, continuous. This man door is here. I don't think I'm going to add any more windows to it. Hey, it stands. All right, stay there. I suppose I could add a window there. I still may, but I don't plan to. Again, most high bays that I've been through really don't have a lot of windows. This is the wall then. That's the right one, yeah. Oh, this is off a wee bit because that's got to fit there. And then this wall fits in there. And again, it's going to be hard to do with with one hand. Alright, you get the idea? Do you get the impression that I'm going for? I probably should have put a square in there to hold it. Oh, jeez. Anyway, this goes along here. It's going to have the three doors, the three loading doors. And then there'll be, I might even leave them all open and then try to do some interior detailing to show that. And then, what I did, get this action. So these are actually going to be cut, but I'll show you what I mean. So what I'm going to do, again, that's just the sub base. But, get this, folks, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so here's some Code 70 rail. Is that too, it's easier to see that way, maybe. Alright, so I'm going to have this coming out like I said, and I'll cut this to fit. It looks pretty decent. I think Code 70 may be a little bit big for my master plan here, but I don't feel like stopping and buying more like Code 55, or it's going to keep going. Now, that's about how it's going to be. And saying, Rob, why is that so narrow? Well, gentle viewer, what I did was when I went out and I did buy a Z gauge, actually Z and NN3 passenger car trucks. Look how tiny that darn little guy is. Oh, here's the box for the package. All right, micro trains Z and NN3. Wow, tiny. And then what I'm gonna do, I did one already. So basically, this is that Z gauge passenger car truck. I sanded down, you know, the the bearings and the side frames a little bit, made it flush. Attempted to fill it with some putty. Didn't go over that well, but who cares? And then I glued on some real small angle, actually H pieces here, and then glued on a top flat piece. Drilled holes where they could, you know, put a clevis on it and drag it or push it back and forth. And it actually rolls. It needs to be, you know, finished, painted, and weathered. And it's roughly, did I get the gauge right? Yeah. I gotta figure that out for the gauge, but yeah, it's close. Alright, so that pair, at least now I have two of them. I can always do something else. And again, these are just homegrown things that, you know, the guys maybe had to go out and buy the wheels and the axles and whatnot. They just had pieces laying around. They just cobbled together some carts. So I'll have carts that can then, you know, go into the high bay. There's a crane that runs this way. Trolley goes this way. They can load whatever they're shipping here. Get a fork truck, push it on out. La, 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 la. And then the other crane out here can pick it up and load it on a flat car. Now, they're actually kind of tiny. Maybe I need something bigger. Or if it's a larger piece that they're shipping, they just, you know, get two of these together. The rails aren't going to work because they're not glued down yet. So you get the idea. Okay, so that is my homemade heavy-duty cart, of which so far I'll have two. Yeah, that and that. So I got to line this, you know, get the gauge lined up, get the rail glued down. I got to figure out, do I want to glue the rail and have a brake, make it all one piece, maybe glue it here, stick it out when I put this on, get the building down, and then glue. I don't know yet. Anyway, some more, you know, rabbit hole I got to think about. But that's going to be the way that's going to look coming out of, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. So like I said, that is going to come out of, what is this? No, I don't want to read you right now. Alright, so that's going to come out of this big bay door here. And I have the doors from rail scale models. Okay, so obviously I'm not lined up right. So yeah, I see you going. There you go. So it'll look something like that. Again, these will be embedded in the concrete once I get that done. Again, I apologize. This is not easy to do with one hand. I'm trying to talk in my growly voice and not be too lame. Not lose all my common sense like I've been accused of. Alright, so whatever. Okay, so you get the idea. Some real big freight doors here. I think look pretty cool. Have it like that. Alright, so that's where we are here. So for this, again, I want to figure out exactly how I'm going to do this maneuver with the rails. Get them in or weighed or pieced or whatever. This is pretty much ready to go. I just need to cut the concrete floor, how I want to cut it to stick out the doors. So I got that door opening cut out, which still needs some finalization, some sanding and whatnot. It is all nicely braced up. So then I got to cut the 3 freight door openings on this side that go here on that wall. Oh, nice and dark. But get those cut. And see, these aren't braced yet. I haven't done anything to these yet. This main wall Yeah, that's the main line side. That sits here. I don't know if I'm going to have anything on that. It might just be just a plain old wall. You know, because there's a crane rail up here, so you can't really put windows in it. And I've been toying around with putting some brick texture on the inside. I don't know. Again, I don't want to get... This is not meant to be a contest. I just wanted a contest model. I just wanted to get it done on the layout, but I just love tinkering, so I tend to kind of a quasi... Almost could be a contest model... An advanced layout model? I don't know what to call it. Anyway, I just have fun tinkering around. So, okay, let's keep moving along, and we'll do some updates as the progress warrants. Okay, here we go. There's the lights. Got them on there. These are strips. Actually, these were left over, I believe, from the Laser Modeling 3 Winchendon kit. They're nice. They're white. I did put a little dab of orange, to me a clear paint on them to kind of make them a little bit more yellowish for the late 50s era. Got the wires routed, so now I'm just going to take this, plop it in. I did test them. Everything's been tested. I actually taped them in there temporarily, put this in, and tested everything and see how it looks. I do have to run the wires through. There's a little hole right here where I bring them back. Then I can do all my wiring up here for the first floor and the second floor. So get that in, a couple of little dabs of glue, get the floor in, then we're going to be ready to work on the second story. Alright, let's move on here. Ooh, okay, quite a bit done here. I've been a little remiss in filming videos. I've been so busy building and doing stuff I had forgotten to film. So it's an update to the front office part of the building. So I pretty much have it, I got it all painted, weathered, mortar lines as well as I could. All the windows are in, which, by the way, I don't know if it's me or what, but these windows were absolutely the most annoying thing I've ever done. It took me 4 hours, over 4 hours, to get the windows in. Every single opening was short, it was, you know, too tight. Had to be sanded. I had to sand windows. It just was, oh, it was horrible. I hated it. But once I got into it and said this is going to be a royal suck fest, I just decided to finish it. So it's done. I'm not saying they look great because I got frustrated after the 3.5 hour mark. But I was like, damn it, I'm finishing this today because I'm not going to go back and do this more. Anyway, so they're on. The tissue door, which was easy, that's been added. Again, the front is done. I did. It's too dark. I added a little light here. Nice scale one that I bought off eBay that works. Front door, I did add a doorknob there from Better Than Scratch, I think. It's hard to see, I know, but I like it because it gives a little 3D look. This side again is going to be away, so I didn't do a whole lot of work other than just get the windows in and stop swearing and move on. On the inside, what I did for the office, you can probably, hopefully see. Now I know I have things in the way because, like I said, I should have filmed this before I got moving, but I have the 3 supports. By the way, the kit only gives you 2, but they definitely call out 3. So, okay, thanks Monster Modelworks for shorting me that, but luckily I had 2 kits. Or just get some other Northeast scale lumber and make it, it's not just a support, doesn't matter. The other ones I added are for the lights. There's 2 LED strips here to light the office, and that is lit up, or not lit, well, it is lit up, but you can see kind of what I did. I just used simple stuff. I mean, more and more I'm realizing that, and I hate to say this, but people really don't, some people, but most people really don't look. They look and go, oh, look, interior, and they move on. So I'm not going to spend hours and hours and hours. I was going to make the drafting tables and, you know, laser cut desks, and like it just doesn't pay off. It isn't worth the effort, I don't think. So these are mostly faller items. They make some nice interior detail kits. Yes, it's European, but who cares? I just want to make it look like an office. You can see there it's kind of got, they even have little, what they call deco sheets for notebooks and things in the bookcases, and I did use some of the file cabinets I had from other, where did they come from? I forget where I got them, but I had them. Again, nothing real fancy. It's just enough so that when you look in the window, when the lights are on, you get the impression that, yeah, there's things going on in there. So again, so I have that office, and again, you'll be able to see in these windows. I like that. That's a figure that's not a real good figure, but that's perfect for the interior. Kind of the back side, he's reaching for a notebook or something like that. You got some guy sitting there at his desk. All right, good enough. So this is pretty much ready for the roof right now. This I blanked this off just so there's no light leakage. It probably wouldn't be a big deal. But again, you know, I kind of figure that the stairs come up right here, like I mentioned before. You know, you come out this outside door here or go up the stairs. I didn't model that. So you come up here into this office where you kind of got some draftsmen that work. You go through. I actually put a door on there. It came with a follower sheet, so what the heck. I didn't model it, but this is the bigwig's office back here. Maybe 3 offices. You know, general manager, engineering manager, purchasing manager, I don't know, but something like that. And then maybe back here you start doing some storage or other office people. I don't know. I don't really care. I did for the lights, just to show what I like to do. When you get this many involved, again, here's the wires from that little, they're little teeny ones for the exterior light. And then I just made a bus. This I like to do it this way. To me, it's just easier when you and I soldered things into it. So I have a positive bus and a negative bus. Oh, you can't see the positive bus, but trust me, it's there. And yeah, I left it red and black so I know what's positive and what's ground. Everything's soldered onto it. And then I'll just drop 2 wires down for my main leads to connect to the 12 volts, and boom, this side's powered. So that's where we are. Like I said, pretty much ready for the roof on this part. So now, let's take a look at the the science project I'm making out of the other part of the building. But at least this is getting pretty far along, pretty much ready for the roof, and then waiting to mate up with its manufacturing high bay. Oh, one quick detail I forgot that I'm going to add on this. And I've seen several other blogs and articles on building this kit, but no one seemed to catch this. Here's a prototype photo, just printed black and white. And you'll notice along, they have these, I call them star wash. I think I actually looked up what they are. They're basically help support the building, that they probably go into the floor. Star washer, that's what I'm calling them. And I actually found some. I'm not sure if they're from Tichy or who they're from, but I have a bunch of them in bags over here. So I'm going to go ahead and add these. I'm just going to glue them on, paint them up. One thing I noticed, I kind of counted, you know, where they positioned them. They're about 3 rows up from the top of this lintel, 15 rows down. Well, another thing, the kit's too small because the building's not this tall. Anyway, selective compression, I guess. And they're just pretty much, looks like they're center line to center line in between the lower windows. So I'm just going to get those painted up, probably a dark rust color, and then get them glued on. So just one other detail that, and they're pretty obvious once you see them. But again, it's kind of odd that those people that are really hardcore, you know, way more advanced than me, didn't catch that. But anyway, so I'm going to add that detail to the side of the building as well. Okay, I'm going to try to briefly, but briefly is a word that's not really in my vocabulary, explain what I'm going to do for the high bay portion of this. So what I did so far, and this is all going to be scratch built. So I have the base with the subfloor in for the high bay area. And then I have the loading dock made up of 1/2 inch plywood because it was a good match to everything else that was going on in the kit. And that's all sitting here glued together right now. I'm going to have some rails that are going to come out of the interior where they can load larger items and roll them out. I'm going to put these rails spaced at probably like 4 foot. I was originally going to go with standard HO gauge. That looks too wide. I was going to go with narrow gauge. That looks too narrow. Anyway, this just looks about right, and I'm going to scratch build some carts. I know I talked about the tiny little one on Z gauge track. That just doesn't look right. It's too small. So those will go in and be embedded in the concrete, and I'll eventually show how that's going to be done. So like I said, all I did was glue this to this. I should have been smarter and thought earlier in the process. I wanted to kind of dowel it through here just to give it some support, but it was too late. I had this floor glued on already, and I can't get a drill. I don't have a good 90-degree for a Dremel or anything like that. I'm not even sure it would fit. But what I would have done, if I was smart, is I just would have drilled through here and then had just a couple dowels just to line things up. But it's glued together with some tight bond wood glue. Seems pretty sturdy. Again, I'm not going to handle it any more than I need to, so hopefully it holds up. Alright, so on top of this, the wood and everything's nice and level across here for the rails and everything. It's spaced for the walls to come into the building, and then I'm going to put on what's going to be the concrete texture, because this material paints up real nice like concrete. So I'm going to have that on the outside, and then on the inside as well, a matching piece, and that's going to sit and be glued on. And these little bits are going to stick through the doors. I'll show you that quickly if I can do this with one hand and the camera and everything else. I'm trying to walk and chew gum. Alright, so the reason I want to do this is I want to get this done because it has to be painted and weathered. I'm going to add a little office in here for a reason I'll show you in a minute. So this is going to kind of be its own little sub-assembly. Plus it'll be a lot easier to glue this laminate down when I can weight it while I have the walls on. So anyway, so what I'm going to try to do, again, is kind of get this built, and I got other fill pieces that'll fill in the gaps and all that kind of stuff. Get this built, painted, weathered up, maybe even some of the details in before I put the actual walls on. I was going to build the 4 walls separate, get it all squared up and glued in, but what I might actually do then is, if I get this done, or far enough along that I don't have to monkey around too much with it, then what I'll do, I'll try to do this. This is my interior for the far wall, and the reason I did this with the texture and the columns, it actually goes this way, because what I also did is I added some brick texture on the inside. This is going to be the support for the roof. It's going to sit down, typical of a brick building. But this was just the the backside of the Monster Modelworks sheet, which had no texture. So I got a Clever Models texture as close as I could. It's not anywhere near perfect, but I wanted something there because I would think there'd be brick on the inside, not just plain plain wood, which is what it is. That's going to sit like that. I'm amazed it's actually standing there. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to just pause this for a moment. Try to get the 4 walls up. And kind of show you, these are the door openings, so you will be able to look in here, look across. So that's why I decided to put some details on that side. And I'll put some accoutrements and maybe some toolboxes, and I could even build a jib crane. But again, I'm not going to go crazy. I just want it so when you look through there, you're not looking at the back side of a wood sheet. That's all. I just want to make it look like it's something inside the building. So, all right, let me try to pause. Well, let me pause this and try to get the 4 walls together so I can kind of show you what it's going to look like. Alright, so here's the concept. So I got the 4 walls in. So like I said, I'll build the base, get the top thing, every laminated, painted, weathered. You can kind of see, well maybe you can, how the interior floor sticks through the door opening, because it probably would. So I notched it to fit there. You can see how you'll be able to see through the doors to, again, this just shows something going on the inside. So it doesn't look like just bare old wood, which I could probably paint red and probably be acceptable, but anyway, it's going to be lit up and everything. So, and then through this large door at the end, you'll also be able to peek in there. So, and that didn't take a lot of time. In all honesty, that's just I forget what brick it is. One of the Clever Model sheets just glued onto a piece of basically cardboard. It's archival mat that I used to do for photography. Use a glue stick, glued it on, and then just cut. I just grabbed a Plastruct H-beam and cut it because it looks okay. And then that wall is done as well. And then again, all around I have the brick pattern for after the roof sits in, and this will also be capped with a cap on top of the brick there to kind of dress it up a little bit. So that's the plan. Again, the rails will come out. They'll be actually look like they're going to be in the concrete. What I'll do is I'll probably get one rail glued in, cut a notch out in this, slide it in, and have to fit a piece in between. But the way it looked, at least by doing it dry fit, I think it'll look pretty good. So that is the way it's going to sit. Now I might actually add a canopy here over the dock with some turnbuckles. I'm actually probably going to steal them from another kit. Well, yeah, here it is. Hold on a second. This is another Monster Modelworks kit background building, but it has this nice canopy on it, which basically is just a piece of wood, and it's almost the perfect size for this. But I might steal out of this kit. Now I know that's a problem if I ever want to build this, but I'm not planning to. And I've decided I'm not going to sell stuff because I always do it and then I wind up wanting or wishing that I had it. So I'll use it. It's got some cool looking turnbuckle supports here. So anyway, so that's probably going to be used out of that kit along here as a little bit of a roof for the loading dock. And then again, on this side, this is where the other part, the office part, will sit. And that's why that's not painted or anything. Because this is what will stick up above the roof on the front office light manufacturing part of the building. So I think that'll look pretty cool. And again, since you can look in this door here, I'll probably put some walls in here like an office. Maybe even put a door and a window. That's the foreman's office or something like that. But that's also going to be where I'm going to do all the lighting work. This will be my connections for the lighting. I find it's easier to leave yourself a room to do that. Excuse me, inside the building. So I'll also have 12 eyes run across here, here, and here. That's why they're notched, as that's kind of support to keep things square. Hopefully as square as I can make things. And then some more support for the roof. The roof will probably be, I don't think I'm going to use a piece of plywood. It might be too thick. But again, some of that archival mat board, which is roughly a 1/16 or so thick. Give or take. It might be a little bit more than that. But it's relatively sturdy, and it's nice. They'll take paint, and you can weather it, put tar paper, similar to gravel roof, whatever I feel like doing for the roof. That will be done after that. It'll be lighted inside, probably some LED lights inside to shine down. Not super detailed on the inside, just again where you're going to be able to look in and see stuff. Have some material coming in and out. I'm not going to add a crane. The intent of it, there's a crane that travels the bay here that loads on the rails heavier objects that are then pushed outside. And then what I may do, what I probably will do, I think it'll look kind of cool, have another crane out here that then picks up the heavier items and loads them on the flat car that sits back here. This is, loading, unloading for smaller goods or incoming material and whatnot. And again, I do have room, if I wanted to, for a siding on the far side. I could always add a little extension here, who knows, with a smokestack for a boiler room or something like that. I don't know. There's all kinds of things that I may or may not do. You guys probably learn that my intentions change from segment to segment when I'm taping this stuff. But that's my intent, or the plan for this portion of the building. The way I can kind of get this done and built. The main front part's almost done. I showed in earlier segments, just needs the roof. Combine them. I will put some texture out here for concrete. It's just the edge of the plywood, so it does look pretty bad right now. But that's what I'm thinking to do. I think it'll look pretty cool. Some interior details, exterior crane. Now the question is, what kind of building is this going to? What kind of industry is it? Because I wanted something big, somewhere some big items come in and out. Could be a heavy-duty machine shop. Could it even be? This kind of thought hit me last night, a small transformer manufacturer. Nothing large, not like the Westinghouse factory over in Sharon, but a smaller one that makes, small little pole transformers, maybe up to this size. Here's an idea. Something like this. This is an Architect model that I actually started a video of. It was a product review, but something in that range. I don't know, 5, 7, 7.5, 10 MVA type, maybe not even that big. But that looked kind of cool. Sit that on a cart, it gets pushed out, lift up by this crane, brought over, sit on the flat car. This size unit would probably be like the max they would do. And then they can add other stuff to it. I think it might be kind of cool. Then if I did the back track, oops, sorry for the quick move there. This back track could be for tank cars that come in with some transformer oil to fill these up. Not worry about kerosene, probably not large enough. They don't have a vapor phase or anything like that. But, you know, something in this small power range, pole mounts, pad mounts, you know, small little network units, might be an interesting little industry. Doesn't really compete that heavily with the Westinghouse factory because they concentrate on the larger units. I don't know, something like that. I need to think of an industry. The reason being that what industry would have this, where they're pushing something big, either in or out, to be either shipped or worked and then reshipped, you know. But I think it would look kind of cool. So, but I want it to be somewhat of a logical building, and what would be on these carts that'll be pushed in and out. Anyway, we'll think about it. So that's what that portion will look like. So let's get to work. The next thing now is to get the rails glued in, get this cut again so I can take the walls off. And if I build it, it's also kind of help keep it square. Again, as square as I get things. So these come off. This wall comes out. This far wall comes out. The front wall leans. There. I do have a light to come off here off the end, so you can see how things are kind of going to be, you know, notched to accept the walls. If I need to, since this is just basically a cardstock material, if things get a little bit tight, I can always trim it a little bit, even when it's glued in. Because even, and I had to a little bit, even this, it's just wood, so I can always, you know, fiddle with it if I have to. Alright, so enough babbling. Let's get to work. Trying to get this done. I kind of like that plan. I think it'll work. I don't know. And I'll also, as I'm going, you know, probably detail, get the doors added out here while it's easier to work. Maybe even get the canopy put on it while it's easier to work. Turnbuckles might go in when I get it assembled. Work a little bit on details for the far wall, or whatever I want to do. If I want to add a simple jib crane or some other beam, I don't know, something, signs or something on the wall. Again, just to show the proof of life. I have these big doors. They're right here. I was thinking of trying to get working hinges just because it's kind of neat to swing them open, but that, I don't know. I might just put the hinges on that came with this and then just have them open and not worry about trying to make them operating. Anyway. Alright, so let's get to work and we'll see how this science project progresses. Alrighty, not exactly sure how well this will show up, but I figured I'd just kind of show what we're doing here. So this is the first cut in between the rails and everything. Put the rails in last night. I put them in with some plyo bond, weighted them down overnight. So you can see they're sneaking into the building. And then here's the concrete overlay, top coat, whatever you want to call it. That shows any better. And basically it's cut this side in, a little piece here at the end, piece on this side, and then a piece in between the rails right here. So that was fun. A little bit of very, very careful measurements and getting everything cut. It comes right into the web of the rail, and I think it looks pretty good. Again, it probably, I mean, when I'm done, I'll try to show it close up, but I don't know how well it's going to show. But and the rail is just a hair above what'll be the, you know, the surface of the pad. So, you know, fork trucks driving over it can get over the rails and stuff. Yeah, it looks a lot to me like I recall being inside plants and shops when the rails in between into the concrete. It can always come in and kind of damage stuff along here because it does get kind of chipped up and banged up over the years. But that's that. So that's this end here, and I got to work on the inner piece, which here's this is the full piece. So I just got to get it cut. Figure out how I'm going to cut it. And do the same thing inside. So all right, let's forge ahead here. See if we can get this interior floor done and get everything ready to go. Glue down. Okay, hey, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? So I went ahead and did it. So this is all down. I started putting the weights back here. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the weights on the entire concrete surface here. I think it's going to look okay. It's kind of hard to tell right now, but I did put the walls in to kind of line things up a little bit. Then took them out, spread out some my favorite old canopy glue, and then boom, these bad boys are in. Alright, so let's let this get sitting up with some weight, and we'll see how it looks tomorrow. Oh boy. Well, okay. So seem to have successfully put the concrete top level on there, and I'm glad I did use the walls to set it, because now everything sets actually pretty nice. I think when I actually do go to glue the four walls in, it's going to help me keep everything nice and square. So that's good. So I think I like that. Now what I'm going to do is I got to resist the temptation to go crazy on the interior, because again, it's not going to be super visible, but I'll do some more. I need to get this door, now that this is in, I can get these doors set with the tracks. I got to figure out what I want to do on these doors. You can see it kind of goofed up when I cut the opening. Yeah, like I said, I'm not all that accurate sometimes. But if they're open, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. And then, it's just a matter of, like I said, these are all just sitting here right now, so I carefully do this without having a complete fall down. Okay, the far wall, the end wall, this wall. Ah! Broken door, broken door. It's a broken arrow, broken arrow. And then this one. I'm going to do this one that's flat because I think it'll be easier to handle. It's a little snug in there, but it fits. Okay, so I got the main doors to work over there. So now, it's a matter of this. It's all in, nice and flat. It seems to have worked fairly well. The rails are just a slight bit up, which makes sense. You know, that way the wheels can roll on it when I eventually build the carts. Fork trucks and whatnot can roll over it without getting banged to pieces. And now it's a matter of smoothing out some of the joints, maybe filling some of them in a little bit. Probably put in other, expansion lines in the concrete where they would kind of make sense to be. Dress things up a little bit, because I'm not perfect, as I never am. Get the texture on the outside for the outside of the dock. Get this painted, weathered. Do whatever I might want to do on the interior before the walls go in, just make it a little bit easier. But I like it. So far, I think it's going to look pretty darn cool. Alright, so more to come as we progress here on this part of it, and eventually get the two halves together and see what this puppy looks like all as one building. Oh boy, we're getting closer. Alright, so the base here, I added a laminate piece on the outside, same material, and then sanded everything. My attempt to use the Vallejo concrete paste just wasn't going to cut it. It's not thick enough. You still could see the the laminations from the plywood, so it looked kind of goofy. I tried it back here first, since you're not going to see that. But so no, that's not going to work. So I just went ahead and glued a piece of the same material around here. Let it set up, sanded it, and it's probably hard to see because the light isn't great. But I did carve in some lines for concrete pads and some cracks and whatnot. Now this isn't weathered yet. This is the first coat. And that material, especially once you sand it and do a little distressing, it really soaks up the paint. I used almost a whole 17 milliliter bottle of my chalk white by Vallejo. Anyway, so let that dry. I'm going to let it sit overnight, and then we can come back and weather it. Because like I said, this is kind of a model in its own. I want to get that done, and then you can see I'm playing around. Not sure what I'm going to do exactly here on the interior. I just always like safety first. I think it's it just looks interesting. And like I said, you should be able to see that through the doors when you're down low. So I just put a nice big safety first in there. I think that's era appropriate, the colors and everything. I'm not positive on that, but I think so. I did get the doors installed on the loading dock side. I added another little sign there some type of, just kind of keep things clean, don't be a slob. I like to put signs on, but you don't want to go crazy because I don't like they had too many signs. Oh, I did add door handles on these doors. That's probably I can notice that, so I like doing that. They're from Better Than Scratch. It's a little door handle. You just drill a number 78 hole and pop it in there, and I think it kind of sets the door off, and I like it. So, all right, so that wall is not. Again, this is where if I put the overhang on over the dock, I should do that probably before I put the four walls together. Just be easier to have it laying flat. I can glue it in, maybe get some angles on it, or my 1, 2, 3 blocks, and keep it nice and square, and get some weight on it, and blah blah blah. Probably be easier than when it's actually vertical. On the other, I just did a quick little shipping receiving. Although actually, I noticed, I don't know if it's going to focus or not. It's receiving and shipping. I always call it shipping receiving, but I don't know. I mean, back in the day, maybe that's the way they called it back in the 50s. So I think that wall's pretty much done. I do have the 2 doors for here. They are over there. Yeah, they're back there. I have a sign on the back on one of them too, just for fun. So this is getting real close. Again, this is gonna dry up, get weathered up. I could even start putting some interior details in here. If I do make a small transformer factory, just for fun, I went back and looked at my interior pictures that I have of the Westinghouse factory in Sharon, and oh man, back in the day, what a mess it was. That place was an ocean nightmare. Anyway, so I'm not going to go quite as crazy on this, but you really could have it pretty darn messy in there. And then the only other thing I did on this, let me do a quick little pan over here, on the office portion, is I did add the star nuts and washers and bolts and fun stuff here. And that's going to be hard to see probably. It's a subtle detail. They're there. And I didn't use the ones I originally had. They looked a little bit too large. Since the building is too small, both horizontally and vertically, it's much shorter height-wise than it should be. Well, not much. It is. So I decided, okay, so if the building's scaled down, I'll use a scaled down star washer on that thing. So, but you can see them in there. I did both sides, even though you're never going to see this back side. I thought the purists would get upset with me if I didn't. And what I was going to use these. I don't know where I got them. They're probably hard to see because they're painted. And they're sitting there on the blue tape. But those are, you probably can't even focus on them. But they just look too big. So I went ahead and switched it up a little bit. And went with the Grant line, number 5270. A little bit smaller. Looked a little bit better, I thought, along the side of the building. Plus I could drill a number 72 hole, which I wrote down here what it is, because in about 10 minutes I'll forget if I ever come back, so now I know what hole size or what drill to use. And again, so they are, again, it is a subtle detail. I'm not sure how well it shows up with my less than spectacular equipment, but it's there. You can notice it. So alright, so that's, again, this is pretty much done. I mean, really what I got to do now, the next step, well, I got to drop the main light feeder wires down. That's easy enough to do. And then it's time for the roof. But I'm wondering if I want to wait and do that until I get it set up against the other building. I don't know. Maybe I'll dry fit it and see. It should, in theory, come right to the edge here. Now, the original design has got it overhanging a little bit. But I'm going to bring it flush because, again, it's sitting against the high bay portion here. I just wonder if I want to wait, get it together, and then bring this roof in, and then do some, I don't know, what am I trying to think of? Flashing or something along the roof. I don't know, we'll see. But this is really pretty much ready. So, alright, so let's let that sit and stew for a little bit, and then get the high bay working. Alright, more to come shortly. Alright, here we are. I actually remembered to film this. Oftentimes I forget. So this is the before. Again, this is the the laminated concrete pattern cardstock material on, with some of the cracks and gaps carved in and all that kind of fun stuff, with the back side of an X-Acto blade. And now it's ready for weathering. So I'm just going to do a before and after here. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet, but what I'm thinking is, here's what I'm going to start with. My old standby, the Vallejo washes. So I got a blue gray, a dark gray, a desert dust, which surprisingly, that one there is kind of a nice color on concrete. I have different rusts. That's a dark rust. And then I have kind of a European dust, kind of an earthy type color. So, and it's just a matter of slathering them on and see how it looks and hope for the best. I'll probably start with the dark gray to kind of give it a, an overall tone down. That'll kind of hopefully settle in some of the cracks and the concrete, joints and everything like that, and kind of separate things and come back. And again, it's not going to be dilapidated. I just want to weather it a little bit because this looks way too nice. Inside the facility on that floor, my experience with concrete floors inside, at least the shops that I've been in, the older ones, not the ones that are nice with the epoxy paint and everything like that. No. They are pretty dark. So this may be just a darker color over here. I have black. That might be too much, but I don't know. We'll see. Again, you're not going to see it a lot. You're definitely going to see this a lot more than you're going to see the inside. You'll be able to see that opening in the doors, so I'm not too worried about that. Plus, then hopefully they'll get some details to plop in and kind of fill the floor up a little bit, so that's not critical. So that's the before. Let's have at it and see if we can avoid ruining this this base and concrete pad. Alright, I have to stop this insanity. I just keep tinkering and tinkering and tinkering, and this video gets longer and longer and longer. Alright, so here's the dock. I may have overdone it a little bit. I don't know. I'm not real happy with the way some of the cracks turned out. Who cares? Whatever. And then up here at the end, I don't know, I was fiddling around and I found some of this like diamond tread stuff. So I said, that looks pretty cool. So I slapped it there at the end of the cart rail. I don't know why. Whatever. And then you can see how I did kind of keep the interior a little bit darker. Little piece there. I was going to paint yellow, like for aisleways, but I was like, oh, good Lord, stop it, you moron. You don't need to do that. And then what I did last night, and alright, I got to stop tinkering. Well, I made 2 tables. These are just heavy-duty tables. I was going to buy some on Shapeways for about $10. Okay, it's not terrible, but then you got to order, and you got to wait. They probably wouldn't have been here until October, which is like 4 weeks from now. So I was like, oh man, the heck with it. I just made up some heavy-duty tables. I reached into my bag of scraps, and I had some styrene. Not even sure what the thickness this is, but you know what? Good enough. I'm going to take these out. I'm going to paint them up, and then they're going to look like heavy-duty tables the guys use in the shop for various assembly work. Fine. 10 minutes with scrap and doing it. Now, what I also did, I made a jib crane. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect. In fact, I know it's not. But what I did was, and I'll show you real quick, just for the fun of it, it was kind of tedious, and I got into it, and I was like, why am I doing this? Why do I do this to myself? But, anyway, sorry for I'm going to try to make it a little bit more visible. So basically, it's just it's a piece of H channel here in the back with a block, so I can glue it to this. A smaller piece, I think 1/8, that goes into the web of that. I rounded the end of the beam, so to speak. I drilled through everything with a 76 drill. I popped a little piece of 020 wire, bent it over in a 90, super glued it in carefully, and then, because this will actually swing a little bit. I didn't do it quite right, and then I didn't get the angle in the back, or the rounding off fine enough to let it go, basically full range of motion, but like, oh gee, the humanity. And then for this, for the block, what I tried to do was actually get two little channels so I could slide along the beam. Yeah, that got just freaking crazy. So I just glued a block underneath it, drilled two 78 holes. There's a little loop of 015 wire through this chain. So that's super glued in there, and the chain hangs down. I had a precision scale little hook that I found in my, which I didn't even know I had until I started looking around. So I found that. I said, oh, okay, that's cool. And there's another little loop here of 015 wire just to go from the last chain link in through the hole on the hook, and then painted grimy black. You know what? Good enough. And I said, it does actually swing. So yeah, so there's my gantry crane. I know it's not perfect. I'm sure all the gantry crane experts out there could tell me how it's really done, but kind of off of my memory, I know something, attached to the beam. It's got a swivel point right here with a pivot, and then the thing can move. So there you go. There's my, it won't quite go all the way over. I don't want to break it. And it's not quite in there right. I have the beam canted off a little bit, but whatever. So like I said, so here's what I used. This is the larger piece, and it's just cut, real small, with a block in the back that fit in the web just to glue it to the wall beam. And then a smaller, I think it's a 1/8, and it fits nicely right in the web. It fits in the web, drill the hole, get it together, and it rotates. So, okay, that's kind of fun, I guess. But now, oops, sorry. Alright, so and I added some more details to the wall. You can see just some, piping, conduit, just gluing crap in there and things around there and blah, blah, blah. But now I'm done. I want to get the four walls together because I'm going to take these out and paint them. I probably have some other details. I actually did order some stuff from Micro Macro Mundo, which if you haven't been to that store, Micro Macro Mundo, go there. Best prices you're going to find. Okay, Rob Bennett tip. Best prices you'll find on Prizer figures, Faller, stuff, Bush, Volmer. It's a European based, and of course they also have actual rolling stock and locomotives. But I'm telling you, you will not beat their prices. No, of course I say that, and someone will find someone somewhere. But outstanding prices on the European stuff that I mentioned. Just check it out. MicroMacroMundo.com. All right, anyway, that was your public service announcement for the day. Get these painted up. I have some other things coming from Faller for like $5-6. Good enough. I mean, they're not the greatest, but who cares? Again, for the interior or something like this, when you're only going to be able to look through a door, and I'm not building a contest model, it'll be fine. So, but I want to get the four walls together. I'll get these in so I can get it together and get moving along here, because I'm getting up frustrated because I'm taking so long to get this thing done. Other deals, I can add the other details. I might leave the roof removable, not so I can take it off and ooh and ah people, but just so I can continue working on the kit, get it further along, and then when things come in and I want to detail stuff, just pop the roof off, add the details, and then move on. So alright, so enough babbling. Let's get these tables painted up. Oh, I did do just one other quick pan. Sorry. Okay, there, right there. I know it's a little bit dark. That's the canopy for the overhang for the shipping dock. I'm going to get that painted. I did steal it out of the other Monster Modelworks kit, but I added a 8x8 in the back, and then just I figure it's like a metal type roof that was added later, just to give it some more, more of a look. So I'm going to get that painted up. This is just a little thing that I might put on the floor of the factory and put barrels in it. Anyway, just to get things painted up here. So, alright, so enough chit-chat. Let's get this stuff painted up. Get it all drying. And then get the four walls put together so I can get this darn thing finished. Okay, I gotta stop fiddly you-know-whatting around here and get this thing together. I'm getting tired of it. But what I did, I added some interior details just to get some stuff down in the two tables that I made. A little jib crane. You can see I added some stairs there in the back. I was rooting through my box of treasures and say, hey, look at this. It was left over from the staircase for the coal dock. Thought that might look kind of neat. So yeah, so I just kind of trimmed it. I had to add some rails to the front of it that were cut off from the back of it where I made the opening for the door. That's a leftover door. I just kind of put the door in there and said, okay, so that goes up to some kind of storage room or whatever. It just, I don't know, it looks kind of neat. And the other stuff, just some various details and stuff laid in there. Mostly stuff from Shorty Parker's layout. He gave me a bunch of stuff. There's some barrels and other goodies inside that little berm over there. I don't know why. Whatever. So, I'm going to stop there and get this darn thing glued up. But first, let's do a little pan over here. And then we'll see. Oh, yeah, I also made this. This is another little Monster Modelworks little, just a little kind of storage shed. So in amongst all this shenanigans, I actually built that. Not sure where it's going to go, but probably somewhere in this complex. Alright, but I digress. So then over here, what I did for this wall is I have this is the, okay, I guess it's kind of a roof. It's the extension, sticking out over the dock. It's from the other Monster Modelworks kit, and you can see I got some spiders here, but what I decided to do was add some LED lights on the bottom, because you would have lights on a dock like that, I would think. So, they are on there, and they actually are going to look, again, it's probably hard to see here in my video and my poor hand holding. They're just little flat LEDs that I bought off of eBay, and they're nice because, they're, when you get them in there and paint them grimy black like I did, it looks like a little light fixture underneath the canopy roof. So, okay, that's cool. So, and I added this little piece here in the back. That's to help me glue it up here, Rob. Glue it onto the wall itself. This is the wall out of the other kit. And I was all concerned about, trying to hold this up because the roof sits here and then there's the hole. Okay, which one? Okay, there we go. So the roof sits roughly right below that spot there to simulate concrete, and that's the upper hole for the turnbuckle that goes in. I was like, well, I gotta lay this on there. I gotta mark the hole. I'm like, you moron. No, you don't. So I just measured the distance from here up to the hole with a handy dandy square, so I'll know what that measurement is. And then once I get the roof, the canopy on the actual building, on my building, I'll just take that measurement and I'll just transfer the holes up. Duh. Alright, so anyway, so these lights are on. Like I said, I got the notch. I notched the back for it to fit through. There's the other side. I might have gone a little bit overboard on that. It's a roof, whatever. I did add a gutter on the outside. That'll be probably real hard to see. That's a 1/16 inch Plastruct channel super glued onto the front. Then I'll bring some downspouts in. You can see the little H-beams that I added, or maybe you can't, it's kind of dark on the bottom, just to give it some structure. I figured it'd be not just a flat piece of wood. Alright, so then what I'm going to have to do is get that lined in there, mark the back where the wires come through, drill holes, maybe slot them a little bit, because I'm going to try to hide those wires. I don't want them too visible. Get this glued in, let it set for a little bit. If I can pull off that maneuver, then I'm just going to take everything else, all four walls, boop, 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 sorry, too dark, and just glue the damn thing together. I'm tired of messing around with it. And then I have some braces to come across for here. I got all the lighting to do on the inside. I do have some machines coming from Faller, model machines actually, not real ones, that I might try to put in there, but I can add them later, because I just want to get the darn thing together. I'm just getting frustrated with how long it's taking me. Although I don't help myself by going into various rabbit holes trying to do stuff when I say it's not a contest model, and it really isn't. It's not meant to be at all. But I just can't help playing around. Alright, so let's get the canopy glued onto this wall, get that setting up, and then I'm going to glue everything together, get the top braces in. I got other lighting to work on for the interior lights. some other interior details, but then I got to cut the roof and blah blah blah. So alright, so let's stop babbling and let's get this darn thing actually done. Oh boy, I may actually pull this off. So I have it slotted out. What I did was I just drilled 2 holes near each other with this little handy dandy Dremel. I like this, but does anyone else know the battery on this thing is terrible. Anyway, I got through it. I was able to do it, and then I kind of slotted it with a little bit of a X-Acto blade action there, and then the wires feed through. It seems to fit relatively good. I have it elevated just because that's the kind of guy I am, just to not pinch the wires. So I think it's going to be okay. Now I noticed this one, the slot might be a little bit too low. You can see some light peering through it. I can either fix that from the inside, or once I get everything glued up, see what it really looks like. But overall, I think it's going to be okay. So there are the slots where it comes through. I seem to have it fairly level, across the run of the building. And then, of course, the question is, well, gee, Rob, is it square? Yeah, it's not bad. It's hard to tell, and I won't be able to do a lot here with the camera. But, just coming in and putting a square against it, yeah, I'll get it square. That I'll have to fiddle with when I get it glued up. So now the maneuver is going to be, this will be fun. Because maybe what I can do is just kind of go like this, and then kind of lay this back like that. Yeah, okay, point the camera, right? Lay the adhesive in here. What don't you use? Do I want to go with the good old canopy glue, or some super glue, or a combination of the two, or get my arc welder out and weld it up? I don't know. Alright, so I'll figure that out. Get it glued up. Hopefully it stays okay. And then once this is in, like I said, what I've already done off the other building is I know it's 31, where am I going? I'm going to go metric. It just laid out nice. 31 millimeters from, so we can turn this, no, don't fall. So basically from the top of the roof to where the hole is for the turnbuckle is 31 millimeters. So use a square, try to line things up as well as I can. Alright, let me move this back. I'm getting nervous here. And then drill the holes up here. They line up pretty much with those here. Drill those holes. Another number 70. So I have my handy dandy number 70 finger drill. That'll work fine. And then there's going to be some flexibility in those. I don't even know where the heck are they. Do I have those things somewhere? As he pans into the darkness. Oh yeah, there they are. They're back there. Right there. They're painted up. Those are the turnbuckles. I know you can't see anything, but that's them. Alright, so anyway, hopefully they go in okay. Now, of course, the question is, as I pan back, where they go into the building, would it just be a hole, or would it be like a little metal, square plate? I would think that in the real world, it's not just sticking in the building. There's probably something that sticks out, like an eyelet, that's something, then the turnbuckle comes up and it's got a hook in it. Anyway, I don't know, but there I go, trying to be a rocket scientist. I might just drill a hole and be done with it. Or maybe we get a little styrene pad, glue it on with a hole. That I don't know. Anyway, but let me first get this darn thing on and secured and stable so it doesn't fall off, and then worry about the minutia of getting the turnbuckles mounted to the top. So, okay. Alright, again, I'm sorry for the babble fest. Let me just get back to work here. Alright, good enough for me. So there it is. I got it on. It's glued up. I ran a bead of canopy glue on the back, real thin bead. Got it in, set up, let that set up, and then I did come in from the underside with some super glue and then some accelerant. Seemed to do a pretty nice job. It's not too messy. And then I did come back in and put the turnbuckles in, but they're probably hard to see. I can almost barely see them, and the light on this side of the bench isn't all that good. But they're there. It's not my greatest work. There's a little bit of sloppiness because what I did was I put it in. My measurement of 31 millimeters was off. Anyway, so I put it in. I laid it up on the top, marked it. You just brought my drill in and drilled a hole for it. It's close enough. And again, they're probably really hard to see, but they actually are turnbuckles. So it's kind of fun. All right, anyway, and then I probably should have done more up here. Again, maybe a little square plate with 4 nut bolt washers. But you know what? Whatever. I'm just not going to worry about it. Down there, I got a little of the super glue. Because I'm not the neatest guy in the world. Yeah, it looks a little bit like rainwater. I'll probably come in and once the 4 walls are all together, make it look like some water stains or other weathering came up out of the gutter or something like that. Whatever. I'm just happy I got the damn things on. So now really is the time on sprockets when we dance. So now it's time to get the 4th wall, get them all together, get them all glued up. And then as we super drone here, then we can go back and start, finishing the interior or doing whatever I'm going to do. So alright, so let's, and this shouldn't take that long, he says, hopefully. Assuming I can keep it square, my corners line up. I don't know, we'll see. Thank God for gutters and downspouts and things that I can hide my mistakes with. So, alright. Let's keep moving ahead. Yeah, probably not enough light to even see in there. Sorry about that. There's not enough light. Alright, let me get the walls together so I hopefully can get this darn thing finished sometime in the next century. Okay. I really am. I'm going to glue these walls together. But one thing I decided to do when I had it kind of dry fit together and looking at the other light that I had here at the end, it just, I like it. It's just too big. This was originally purchased for the intention being for the Westinghouse factory, the big transformer factory, because there are some example lights I saw that look real close to this in some prototype pictures. So I thought, maybe it'll look good here. But just given the size of this building, it was just a little bit too large. So what I did is I had one of the Walthers Scene Master lights. That's, more like a traffic, or like a traffic light, roadside light. But I have seen things like this before, and to me it looks a little bit better, more to scale, and just, I don't know, it just looks a little bit nicer. Not too large for the building. And then what I did, just for fun, as you can see, there's a conduit run that goes up to it. I just found some wire laying over here in this mess, bent it into a 90, and then I drilled a little hole and popped it through the wall there. So it comes, it's probably a little bit too large. It's probably like a 3-inch conduit, which is probably way too big. But anyway, and then to cover the larger hole that I had there, because this takes a pretty big hole to go to mount, and luckily the weld bond was flexible enough I could get the old light out with no damage whatsoever. But I had to make a little plate. Zoom in on this here. And then I added 4 nut bolt washers there in the corners, just to kind of make it look like, yep, it's a plate. They mounted it there, secured it to the wall, and then painted the light itself a little. It's originally silver. I went ahead and just painted it this panzer gray, or grimy black, basically, with a little bit of the more olive green color, just for some fun. So, all right. So now with that done and reaccomplished, now I can glue the whole thing together. So let's get this building put together. Dun dun dun. All right. Well, there it is. Glued up and drying up. I'm gonna walk away. Let it sit for a while. Hopefully everything's relatively square. I did the best I could, and we'll see. Again, you can always hide mistakes. One thing I've learned I'm good at. Alright, so it's all there. Not a whole bunch of clamps, just a couple of them. I did get the 3 across the top there, and they're really just for supporting the roof, because it's a little bit of a larger area. And then what I'll probably do is you can see the mess of wires in there, so I'm going to have again a power bus inside. Maybe run some other strip wood pieces here and here that I can glue the LED lights onto from the underside. For lighting the rest of the interior, I got a couple more pieces to put in, but now I can let this set and hope it lines up and maybe test fit it with the other part of the other half of the building and see how it looks. Alright. Whew. Finally got her glued together. More to come. I got bored while the glue was drying on the building, so I made an oven. I was thinking, what am I going to do? This is the kind of the corner where I'm going to hide the wires that come up to power the lights and everything. So I said, it shouldn't be an office. It should be an oven, just in case they want to have like a transformer shop or a small motor shop or something like that. No, you need a bake-out oven. So all this is some cardboard. It's the same material cut out of here, just this archival mat that I used to use for photography. I'm going to use for the roof and wall partitions and other stuff like that. And then it's just, two pieces glued together. I actually cut thin strips out of the same stuff, slapped it on there. Took it out, painted it gray. Found the door. That isn't the exact door I want. I know what an oven door should look like, and I know it's not right. But I just found it in my clever textures. Printed it off. Sized the supports around it. Glued it in there. It didn't have two sets of doors, so I just drew with a Sharpie a line in the center and two little handles there to open the oven doors. Slapped on a sign so Cletus doesn't go in there and try to eat lunch. Danger, hot, yeah, it's an oven. So over here some controls. This here is the oven chart. At least all the ovens I've ever been, at least for baking out transformers, we have a chart. And this is back in the 90s and whatnot, so I have no idea what it had in the 50s, but it's basically a circle chart that keeps a record of the oven temperature as you cure whatever you're curing. So alright, so that's that. So that's just sitting there ready to go in. I'm just going to slap that in, and we got us an oven. Alright, so let's get it installed once the walls are dried and see how the interior's looking. Oh boy, here we are. Okay, it's together. I just laid the roof in there, so it's off a little bit at this one end. Might have to either give it a real slight trim or some sanding. We'll see. Alright, so okay, like I said, it's together. Again, my corner work isn't the greatest, but so far, lots of wires in there. There's the new light with the conduit run. And then this side here is just pretty plain. That's just a plain wall. You can see what I mean here. I didn't do that great on that particular corner. Oh well. This one's not too bad, but okay. Again, some of this finery I'm not all that good at. But let's spin it this to show this. Again, now this end has the other part of the building that matches up to here. So in these corners, again, not my greatest work. I know it's kind of dark, but they're not they're not terrible, but alright. Okay, so then inside you can see, yeah, there's the little oven. It looks pretty neat. If you come down here and kind of look in the that kind of conveys that there's something going on in the building for just cobbling together some freaking pieces of paper, cardboard, and a couple signs and whatnot. So okay, so now, oh man, so I got the roof cut. I got to do a lot of work with all these darn wires and figure out what else I'm going to do for lighting. I do have some other contraptions that I found in my little bag of tricks. That's a nice LED light, 12 volts, which I like because I'm lazy and I don't like to have all kinds of different voltages. and also this one, which is 12 volts as well. So I might see how they look. These are really flipping bright, so we'll see how they go. Alright, so okay, got her together, looking nice. I know it's kind of hard to see there on the dock and everything, but hey, for my skill level, I'm happy. I'm very happy with it so far. So alright, let's get back to work and see if I can get this video monstrosity finished and posted. Alright, let there be light. So I got everything done here. So real quick, just kind of show what I did. On my normal routine, I added a power bus here, plus or minus 12 volts. Just run in underneath these roof supports. I actually made a little cleat, probably hard to see, where the wires run through, then I glued it up, just so they're not sagging. I mean, they probably would have held if I just glued them on the underside, but I don't want them to fall. So that way a little bit more secure. And then here's where the wires will come up from the layout, or from underneath, kind of where these are attached, but just from the bottom. And then I added this here to support this large light. I added a run here, I think it's a 10 by 10, to support this light. There's a strip light here at the end. And also, so when I brought these wires up from the dock lights and this door light, they're right above that, so they don't sag. And since this is below this, where this is where the roof sits up here, you know, there's a little cavity where they'll sit in there and kind of be trapped, so they won't be flopping around, and they shouldn't be visible when you get the roof on. And then I went just for fun, since I had it. See, I ran around here and down to there. There's a little welding simulator. Here it is. It's by Evans Designs. Nobody can even see that, but that's that. Okay. Just for fun, like I said. Excuse me. And then this way I can kind of position it where I want. I didn't want the LEDs to be really, or I didn't want the LEDs to be visible at all. And that way I can kind of monkey around with it to kind of figure out where the best position is for that. And I don't know how well everything might show if I go dark. And the dock lights. There's that flashing. Now I still have the, you know, the roof open, so it's probably gonna be a little bit darker yet, but that's pretty much how that works. And again, I think it looks pretty nice. And you can see in there, and hey, look, there's an oven. And my gosh, there's a gantry crane. And again, I don't think those lights underneath, not there, you won't be this low, but they don't look that bad. Now, I may go in and give them a touch of the Tamiya orange paint, because I forgot to do that. But, you know, they don't look bad. Maybe they're brand new. It's when, you know, new technology's coming out. So, alright, so there we go. Everything's lit up. Now it's time to get the roof on and keep plugging away here. Alright, more to come. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do for the roof. I have a piece of my old archival mat. And what I did for this, I was just playing around, figuring, you know, what I want to do. I didn't feel like doing individual tar strip pieces, that kind of stuff. I had a sheet of black 150 grit sandpaper. And I laid it on there. I was like, you know what, that looks okay. It's got a little bit of a texture to it. And for HO scale, it's probably a little bit more accurate than sprinkling on, you know, cinders or something like that. Just the size that it really would be. So I said, you know what, I'm going to use it. I did run up to the hardware store and see they had like an 80 grit. They didn't have it in black, but they did have it. And there wasn't that huge a difference. So I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to use what I have. Now, I did have to piece it together. I couldn't get it quite long enough, so there's a line here. You know, I'm not real skilled at doing that kind of stuff, but it'll be okay. I'll hide it somehow. And then I took it outside and I sprayed it with some Vallejo hobby spray paints. some Panzer Gray, some English uniform, some U.S. khaki, and then overall sheen of black, just plain old black, to give it some variety. And I'll still come in and weather it and use some washes and pigments and whatnot, but I think it looks alright. And then eventually I will be using certain vents and other fun stuff to put on the roof. This is a cool looking blower. That's going to be over the oven. The oven is up in this corner, so that'll be for the blower for the oven or something like that. I got one more of these coming from Shapeways. I kind of like the way they look, so that might help, hide the line there a little bit. I figured, okay, it's a vent, so there's one there at that end of the high bay, maybe one there, just for fun. I do have a roof access hatch. Probably put it in the corner, because you probably would pull the crane into the corner and have to clamber up on it. There's a ladder that comes up to the roof. I'm not going to use one of those. I know they have the stairs that come up, but in this type of high bay, I don't think you'd access it that way. So I'm going to use this little roof hatch over here. I won't put an air conditioner on this. I was told in the past there'd never be an RTU on top of this. Again, the Nancy know-it-alls will come out of the woodwork. So, but again, there probably would not be an air conditioner on a high bay in this type of old building, so that's fine. Then this will be installed on the rest of the building once I get the lights wired in. So that's kind of where I am right now, and I'm going to check and see how long this darn video is. It's probably getting way too long. So I might just stop here, call this part 1, or part 1.75, and finish the rest up later, just because I got some more things coming in. I'm going to be delayed several days. Because you know me, heaven forbid I actually plan stuff. Like I say, I have to order some more things, and I have some other stuff coming that I need. I can't think what I need. I just kind of get into it and go, oops, I need this, and then I order it. So there's other things I can fiddle with. This is a heavy-duty cart prototype, and I'm going to use this is a relatively old one. I don't know if it's really from the 50s. And it's the bottom one, not the top one. That's a brand new one. This was purchased out in our Los Angeles service center. It's a cart to move transformers around. I'm looking at this one here, and I talked to our mechanical guy. I have a rough idea what the beams are, and you can see it isn't really all that complicated. It's basically some W12 and W6 wide flange beams, some wheels that I think I actually found in Shorty's stash of parts, and so I think I can cobble something together for that. So I might work on that as well while I'm waiting for the other stuff to come in. So all right, let me see if this is this may be the end. I don't know. If another segment shows up, then I decided to do something else. If not, this will be the end of this part, and we'll continue on part 2 at a later date.